Hey guys, how's it going? Twigs here. So we're going to be checking out the Prydwen tier list for this rotation of MoC. And the reason I wanted to look at this one is probably for the same reason you guys might be interested. And that is because, as we all know, this MoC is a bit of a doozy. So I thought might as well check in on what Prydwen thinks. How do they feel the characters are stacking up when it comes to the MoC tier list? So with that being said, hit that like in. And let's jump into it. Let's check out basically the tier list base value. Let's see what it's all about. All right, let's scroll down and yeah, this makes sense. Right out of the gate, it does make sense. Aglaia is gonna definitely be tier 0 because this MoC just, it's selling her. It's 100% selling her. And as you guys saw from my MoC clear, Aglaia just wrecked Nikador's side. And then it does actually make a lot of sense why Firefly would step down, because there's not really any fire weak enemies, but even though Firefly can implant the weakness herself, you still got to implant that weakness. And don't get me wrong, I probably with my Firefly team, I probably could clear it really easy, but the thing is that Firefly is not going to clear it more than likely as efficiently as, let's say, Aglaia, since this MoC pretty much, like I said, caters itself to Aglaia. Then Fei Xiao, where this MoC is not very single target, especially with Nikador's side, where you want to be able to take out all the totems. Yeah, it makes sense why Fei Xiao would kind of go down too. And like I said, if you guys are listening to this, this isn't hating on these characters. Tier 0.5 is still good, and that still means that they can clear it efficiently. They're just not going to be busted like right now Aglaia is in this MoC, for obvious reasons. These guys are going to go down single target, break effect, makes sense. Follow-up attack, and her follow-up attacks is just like Clara, so you got to wait for the enemies to hit you. Both Dots have the watch list eyeball. Oh, poor Dot. Oh my god. Dot is just falling off a cliff over and over again. It's almost as bad as Seela. Like, Dot is getting to the point where it's just as bad as Seela. Memory of Chaos continues to become more challenging with each phase, but 3.0's MoC is particularly brutal. The difficulty increases are the result of, but not limited to, higher enemy damage numbers and more lethal battle scenarios, higher HP of the enemies, new and much harder enemy types and mechanics, encounters and buffs specifically tailored towards new characters, looking at you, Aglaia, and a need to make the game harder to justify the higher power level of new characters, aka power creep. We placed Aglaia conservatively on our tier list in order to observe how the community would receive her more restrictive than average requirements. But Aglaia smashed 3.0's MoC, which was custom made for her, but also performed great in 2.7's MoC, which wasn't specifically made with her in mind. And she was the fastest there too. We feel she deserves to sit in tier 0. But yeah, I mean, if it was made for you, might as well be at the top of the fucking tier list. QQ, the little gambling gremlin, actually thrives in this most recent phase, so we're raising her up. But yeah, it makes sense. You got the quantum weak side. She's getting energy, which allows her to be able to instantly hit her 4-of-a-kind tiles. But yeah, it makes sense. The combination of Fei Xiao and Firefly losing their usual edge due to unfavorable conditions, and the Herta and Aglaia getting exactly what they need to succeed is why we're reshuffling the highest tier. Like I said, makes complete sense. It's basically what I said earlier when I was first seeing Firefly and Fei Xiao move down. Boothill, like I said earlier, single target situation. He is not meant to be in an AoE situation. Yunli basically suffers from the same situation as Clara, but also because if Yunli wasn't exactly on Firefly and Fei Xiao's level, she's gonna obviously be stepped down when Firefly and Fei Xiao are moved down. And then the rest of this is just power creep. Blade is just not performing well due to being a 1.x character. Ting Yun has basically been power crept by Sunday, since Sunday is also a battery character. Asta, power creep. Hanya, power creep. Fu Xuan, pretty much being power creeped in the healing and sustain department. And then Kafka and Black Swan being heavily power creeped due to the fact that Dot just cannot survive in the environment anymore. And that was basically what we have noticed, and particularly when it comes to this MoC, is that a lot of characters are just, it's not a case of, like, for example, what I said here earlier with Sunday versus Ting Yun. Sunday just basically is a fusion of Bronya and Ting Yun, being able to give the 100% advance forward and also being able to battery with his ult. And so, bada boom, bada bing, Sunday is a direct power creep to those two characters. But as we know, there is more types of power creep going on in the game. Basically, characters just can't survive in the environment. Biggest example, as we all know, Dot. It is literally unable to compete in the environment. We have been watching this happen with Sela over and over ever since 1.0. This is my thoughts on Prydwen's tier list and my reaction to it. Overall, a good tier list. They basically have just encapsulated the moment, and nothing too crazy. I'll definitely say that. It's nothing too crazy, but they do definitely see what's going on, and that's of course going to be apparent when you're making a tier list for the game. These guys probably have seen the power creep firsthand when it comes to looking at the damage numbers and doing all this testing. Good tier list, good changes, and it definitely does just highlight what's going on. The only two characters realistically that are able to handle, actually the one character I should say that can realistically handle this MoC, and it's of course the character it was made for, is Aglaia. Aglaia is pretty much right now the only character that stomps the MoC, and for obvious reasons. So with that being said, definitely head down in the comments down below and let me know what you guys are thinking when it comes to this tier list. How do you guys feel about it? Do you agree with it? Do you think that there are other changes they could have made? Definitely head down in the comments and let me know. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. You guys have been great, and I'll catch you guys later.